Welcome viewers, this is Jason from JGD Designs. You may have seen my previous video about the creation of a home landing page in Figma. During that tutorial, I mentioned that this design was destined for Elementor. Well, this tutorial is the follow-up. We will be creating this fictional landing page in reality. As I was recording the screen first, I decided it would be better to break the tutorial up into more than one part. The Figma tutorial ended up being a lot longer than I wanted. In the first part, we're going to put together the design as it looks in Figma for the desktop. Then, in part 2, we will make the design responsive for mobile and tablet. I might do a part 3 to explore Elementor's animations. Alright, let's get started. You don't need to have followed the Figma tutorial to do this one, but you do need JGD-BizElite, a free theme at WordPress.org. You can get it from the Add New screen by typing JGD-BizElite into the search bar. You will also need the Elementor plugin, the free version. You can get this also by searching within the plugin Add New screen. Next, we want to create a new page titled Wine Site Page. In the customizer, we want to set our home page to our newly created page. Under Home Page Settings, set the home page to Wine Site Page. Your post page can be set to whatever page you prefer. Back on the Wine Site page, we will apply the full page width, no menu template. To use this template, you will need one of the latest versions of JGD-BizElite. Previewing in a new tab, you can see that this template removes the entry element's white background and border. In the Display Options section, disable the comments to remove comments from pages. In Site Identity, we want to hide or get rid of the title and tagline. Then, we want to add our logo. You can grab this file from the Figma tutorials resource page, which I will link in the description. In the header image section, let's hide the wave background image. Let's go to the color scheme section and change the scheme to red. Let's also enable a gradient for the header. This feature is only on the most recent version of the theme. Getting the colors from the Figma file, let's set the top gradient color to the hex color 320000 and the bottom gradient to 640000. We will also set both the top and bottom gradient colors in the footer to hex code 580000. That background behind everything is way too bright. We will change that to 320000, a deep dark red. The very latest version of JGD-BizElite lets you set the background color for a page that uses the full page width, no menu template, separately from other pages. In the page template customization section, let's change the background color to 402020. On our wine site page, let's click the button to add it with Elementor. Once we are on the editing page, you will see the Elements panel on the left side. We will add an intersection with two columns. Then, using the Structure drop-down, we will set the column structure to be 33% on the left and 66% on the right. Clicking the Elements button in the upper right of the panel, drag an image onto the left column. Images are blank until you upload one. In this case, we will upload an image of a wine bottle. If you were following along with a Figma tutorial, you might recognize these as the images used there. But I will link to the Figma tutorial's resources page to get the images for this one. So we want to add 64 pixels to the top and bottom by clicking the Unlink button first. For the right column, we want to drag in a heading at the standard H2 size. The heading will read, "This month's wine selection," and will be white to contrast against the dark background. Just below the heading, we will add a text editor, a minimal version of the tiny MCE text editor. From here we can copy the lorem ipsum text from the Figma file, or just get some from libsum.com or so. We want to also use the Style tab to change the color, rather than that provided in the MCE editor. Doing it this way preserves the color in the editor backend. Next, let's drag in a call to action button just below the text titled "See Our Entire Wine Collection." To customize, we will make the color pure black, the background color 77845E, and the font weight bold. You can find the font properties under the typography dropdown. Since JGD-BizElite doesn't have a border radius on buttons, let's set the border radius to 0. And to make the button stand out, we will add padding of 20 pixels for the top and bottom, and 40 pixels for left and right. Finally, we want to center the button. It would also look good to vertically center the content in the right column. To do this, click the parent right column and select Vertical Align Middle. We have 4 other sections for this page which are all similar, so it would be a good idea to set up their structures ahead of time. This time we're going to click the plus button to add a section to make it full width so it spans the entire page. This works well with our full page width template that spans edge to edge. Inside the column, we will add an intersection of 66% and 33%, the opposite from before. Next, we will duplicate the main column 3 more times, hitting Ctrl or Command D. We want our second and fourth column structures back to 33% and 66%, as our design will have opposing column layouts from one section to the next. The first section will be the red wine section. Let's set the background color behind this section to 320000. The heading for this one will be in the left column. It will say About Red Wine. To match JGD-BizElite, we will make the heading size H3 and the color white. Similar to before, we will add a text editor below the heading. For our body copy, we will open the text from the Wikipedia file, grab the copy underneath the headline, and paste into the text box. Make this text white as well. Just like we did in the Figma file, we want to italicize the source line for emphasis. For the left column, let's add 128 pixels on the top and the bottom. This space will be needed for the effect we will add later. On the right side, we will add an image, just like before. Upload the red wine image shown and give it alt text, red wine glass. Change the size to medium for faster loading. First, we want to center the image, then vertically align the image within the column. If you watched the Figma tutorial, we added a wave shape in between each section. We will add that for real here in Elementor. For this task, we will click on the outermost column and choose Shape Divider with the type style of waves. Let's set the height to 64 pixels. And we need to set the background color of this wave shape to the same as the previous column, 402020, in order for it to blend in. This section is very similar to the last one, but there are enough differences to cover it here. Subsequent sections will not be shown, since they are very similar. In this section, we will set a light background color of B2 9F 9F. Then add a heading and text editor with our copy from the Wikipedia text file. This time make the color solid black. Once again, we will add 128 pixels of padding to the top and bottom of the right column to accommodate the wave divider. In the left column, we will add an image of the white wine, making the image size medium. This time, when we add the wave shape divider, we will click Invert to differentiate. And set the background to 320000. We will next do the rosé and orange wine sections, except for the shape dividers. However, with the rosé wine section, if you don't have access to the symbol above the E in rosé, you can copy the heading from the Wikipedia file. Make the background behind the rosé wine section 7F6060 and the background behind the orange section 321700. For the orange wine section's right column, give it 128 pixels of padding on the top and 256 pixels padding on the bottom to accommodate the short text and image. And for the rosé wine section shape divider, we will flip it vertically. Going further for the orange section, we will flip and invert the wave divider. Staying with the orange section, let's add one more divider for the bottom with the standard settings. One more thing is to add a margin to the bottom of the orange section to give it some space between it and the footer at the page bottom. Finally, update and preview the changes to see how the page looks thus far on the real site. As you can see, everything looks fine on the desktop. Switching to responsive mode, everything still looks, for the most part, decent in tablet. But for mobile, things can be cleaned up significantly, as the images are out of a sequence that makes sense, and the dividers are running into the next sections. Since I learned that these tutorials can get quite long, we will fix these issues in the next one. Thank you for watching. Please like this video if you got any value out of it, and subscribe to get more content regularly.